Hello everyone, this is CY once again. Thanks for joining me. My messy hair. Okay, so this is the part 2 of the testing of the BINCOO S1 Pro espresso machine. Of course, it's designed and manufactured in China, right? So we're going to test the machine. This is the first time I'm turning it on, and then I'm going to try pull shots on it, right? But before that, let me show you. Okay, currently it's actually on. So I should have done it with a cold start. So I'm going to power off the machines. It's not going to be accurate because the heating up is super insanely fast. So it's run by thermal block, which is understandable, right? So let's see. You can see now the power is on, right? Let me just show you before we turn off and then we restart again. So as you can see, the machine has a very small form factor, right? And as you can see, I have already plumbed out the water, right? So the plumb is given, supplied by BINCOO, and the clip is also supplied, right? And it ran all the way to the back, right? And this is where the water inlet is, which I'm now sharing the same water source as the BINCOO S. This is the P1 P01. I think this is the composer. The conductor is the one with brewing grinder, right? So you can see the output is actually to a waste tank there. And then you can see the LED ambience light of the BINCOO machines, which is pretty nice, I have to say, right? So aesthetically, it's very pleasing. The size is definitely very pleasing for Singapore market, where house is getting smaller. And then and I'm going to bring this out for events, right? And let's see how fast or how slow is this machine capable of doing events. Maybe 30 cups at one go, right? So if this is capable, right? I don't know, right? Nowadays, the Chinese technology and the manufacturing power is crazy, right? So let's turn the machine off, right? Let it cool down a little bit, and then may not be able to cool down that fast because now this is already heated up. So let's wait for a short while. Okay, my patience is not. I'm not a very patient person. Only when I'm teaching, right? So now let's turn on the power, right? You can see it's still at 92. Sorry about it. So maybe we can cool it down by running a cold extractions. I'm not sure. So let's try. I don't think this will actually pass through the thermal block though, but let's try. Right. Let's see. I think now the temperature is too hot. So you can see it's unable to do cold extraction. So if I want to do cold extractions, I have to wait for the temperature to go down. So press again. Am I able to... Oh, the water is actually warm water, right? So the thermal block is actually extracting warm water now, right? It's not even hot now, right? So I'm supposed that... Oh, now it's cold. Alright, so basically the pump kicks in to dispense cold water, and then there are a few stages. It actually runs in different stages, right? Oh, that's pretty interesting on how the cold extraction is being done. It's being done in stages. Right, so let's turn it off. Right now, I believe the thermal block. I think they are running through this. I'm not too sure whether they are running through this water via the thermal block because the water is cold. Right, so now let's switch to hot again. Right, you can see the thermal block is still at 80 plus degrees Celsius. Right, so you can see now the machine is trying to heat up again to 92 degrees Celsius. Right, once it's at 92 set temperature, the entire system actually stopped blinking. Right, so now what we're going to do now is actually to show you that how the functions of this dual thermal block, which mean to say you can actually brew your coffee, extract your coffee, and steam at the same time. Right, so there is a manual button here for you to do manual control. This is a programmable control. Right, so I'm just going to do a manual, and I'm going to manual start, manual stop, and then I'm going to run the manual extractions as well as the steam at the same time. Right, the steam tip is a single hole steam tip, right? I believe should be good enough. So let's test. Extraction, steam. Okay, please do not underestimate the steam. The steam is actually pretty good. Two-touch steam on. Right, it's not even, it's slightly warm only. Right, oh, you can see the amount of water. So I will be drying this up a little bit. So we will just clean this up. Right. Not supposed to happen this way, right? Because anyway, you are not supposed to splash water into the drip tray and then causing a mess on the machine, right? This thing is supposed to go into the milk anyway. So everything seems to work. So now let's brew a cup of coffee and then see how it's extractions. And then there is a empty pump function which I would love to test. So this thing is supposed to have 3 pumps. One pump, one vibratory pump for the extraction of coffee, one vibratory pump for the steaming of milk, and then the third pump, which is actually blow air to push out the coffee pulp, right? So as you can see, I locked this too tightly, right? So you can see now this actually can be turned over, right? So this is the basket when you want to do your espresso. So if you turn it over, right, and you lock it up, and then you press this, you actually push out the pulp, right? Okay, so you can see you also push out some water, right? And then you turn it back. Technically, you should be able to push out the pulp like that, right? And I don't ever have to empty the drip tray again. I just have to scrub it, and then I flush it down with water, and then all the thing goes to the back, right? So let's grind some coffee. We're going to use the Milo Play 2. Current setting is at 165 micron, right? We're going to do a 17 gram. Hang on, let's try again. This is our World Cup blend, right? We're going to stop this after the World Cup finishes, right? So if you love our World Cup blend, right, it will last until the end of the month, right? After that, we'll be creating a new blend again for the August onwards, right? So we technically designed this blend for the World Cup, right? So let's open this cover. Sorry about this, I'm doing it with one hand. Let's turn on. This is a very good grinder, right? Plastic, no problem, right? It's non-integral part, so this is plastic. It reduces cost, and then it doesn't cause it doesn't contribute to any quality of the grind. This is plastic, so it's fine. I do agree with the declumper, right? So the motor is going to reverse. Technically it should. Okay, now it's on manual mode, maybe it doesn't. Right? Right, 0.1 gram of retention. I'll call that pretty okay. So now let's bring it over here. It doesn't fit my normal pad because of the extra fin over there. So let's do it horizontally. This thing actually lies flat horizontally, right? Look at that, right? It actually lies flat. A little bit tilted up here, but if I rest it on the pad, it's perfectly flat, right? Yeah. So now let's do it. Okay, I will try my best. Okay. Okay, let's use the needle distributor that's given by BINCOO. Sorry about the mess. Right. Okay, maybe I should use my finger first, right? Okay. Actually, the grind is actually fluffy enough. I actually don't need to do this. But anyway, this is given, so might as well just use it. Keep it. Right, let's tap it. Right, distributor, I'm still going to use it. In fact, this is very heavy. After I distribute, I don't think I need to tamp anymore. Right, so let's use the tamper that's provided. Oh, that's a spring actually, right? So that's why it's called elastic tamper. So that's where the elastic comes from. Right, let's use a puck screen from BINCOO. Okay, this is, lock it up. Okay, I have to use my leg. Okay, let's clean up this mess here. Okay, I'm going to get a cup. I'm just going to get a, cupping bowl. Right, let's get a scale. Let's hope that it doesn't spray all over the place. Alright, so we will be doing I'm going to do a manual extractions, which means I'm going to control it. In the future video, I will be doing more on the app-based control, whereby actually they can actually control the pressure. So let's just do a normal one and observe what is the pressure here. Right, that's the short timer here. Right, so you just need to weigh the coffee. Okay, extraction is a little bit fast. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's definitely on the faster side. So the grind size is a bit too coarse. Right, so what we're going to do is we will be putting another shots, but I will save the prep behind the scene so that you don't have to rewatch this again. Because before we move on to the next shot, I'm going to see whether the puck is actually being blown out. Right, so press this. Oh, it's pretty neat, right? Right, and then after that, switch it off. Let's dump this away. Right, and then this is our puck, right? Yeah, this is pretty interesting. Right, and then of course we have to turn it upside down again. Right, let's clean the basket. Right, the water is ponding up a little bit, so I'm not too sure whether the water is flowing down, or maybe there is there's a plug there. Right, I forgot to remove the plug. Right, can you see this plug here? There you go. Right, so if you do not want to use the connection of the pipe to pipe up the water, remember, do not remove this. Right, this should be removed, right? Because now we are actually draining out. So now this is drained out properly. Okay, let's just clean up the mess here. Right. Right, let's put back the drip tray. Okay, that's it. It's pretty nice. Oops. Definitely don't want to lose this. Let's put it on top here. Right. Okay, so now we will be preparing the second shot behind the scene. So I will just show you the instructions. Now we are at 165. Let's reduce the grind setting. Let's reduce to 155 or maybe 150, right? Okay, so I will be doing all the work behind the scene, right? We will just enjoy the shot later. So the grind size has been adjusted. Right, so I will try to attempt to extract coffee and then steam milk at the same time. So I'm going to bring you over to this side so that it can give you a better view. Okay, let's try to do extraction first. Right, the group is actually pretty hot. Right, so it shows that the temperature is actually pretty good. So let's do a manual one. Right, so you'll be able to see, may not be able to see the extraction from here, but this will give you a better view of the pressure gauge there. Alright, the extraction looks still a little bit fast. Right, 16 seconds, we are already achieving about 38 grams, but I will let this slide for now because this is a grinder issue and not a machine issue, right? So right now, we are going to steam some milk. Right, let's purge it. I'm going to bring my camera up, see how long it takes to steam. Let's measure the milk as well, right? Since we are doing this. I'm also using the pitcher provided by BINCOO, 150 grams, right? 160 grams of milk. Right, so let's try to see how long it takes to steam, purge. It's a very long one, so it's definitely cool touch. Right, so let's position it. Oh, the position is actually very nice because I can rest the pitcher and I can actually touch this and adjust at the same time because it's really cool touch. You can see I'm holding on to the steaming as it steams, so it's definitely cool touch 100%. It's getting slightly warm. right? Okay, it's getting hot now. Okay, that's the quality of milk we'll be getting. Look at how velvety it is. Let's purge it. Right, see the velvety milk there? Right, this is my first time sipping milk on this machine, right? Okay, let's do some latte art if we can, right? It's not too bad at all, right? Because of my weird angle of filming, so it's become a little bit hard for me to do a proper latte art. But what do you think about the BINCOO S1 Pro? Do you think it's capable? Right, I have to test it by bringing out for events. I have high hope for these machines because pretty much all you need is here. Of course, we do not forget to remove the puck. Right, the lock is actually very tight, so let's turn it over, and that's it. Puck, nice and dry. Right, so and we can actually rinse the basket. Oop, water is breaking out from the side. I think this is not a good way to rinse it. I think the proper way of rinsing will still be inverting this and then rinse it this way, right? So let's rinse. And I can see the water tank from the other side, and I'll be aware whether I still have water there. Right, so let's rinse, dry out this whole drip tray. Oops, I accidentally touched the coffee. Right, so lastly, let's try the coffee. So what do you think about the BINCOO S1 Pro? Right, it's a very powerful and small machine, small and yet powerful. Right, so it's amazing how China has come on the technology in espresso. Right, so this machine is probably around 1,004, 1,005 we're selling. Yeah, so you be the judge. Right, I'll be testing this machine more, right, to see whether it's able to keep up the quality. And then how's the durability of the machines, right? Definitely it's yet to be proven and tested, so I will be the one testing it for you, right? So this is CY. If you like what we do, don't forget to click on the like and subscribe button, right? It does help us a lot. Thank you. Please support us. We'll continue to make great coffee content for you, right? So see you in the next one.